What if some of the healthiest, most powerful vegetables just vanished from our plates? Turns out, medieval farmers grew at least 15 incredible superfoods, many of which we've completely forgotten. Let's dig in and rediscover what we've been missing. First up, skirret. This root vegetable was a Middle Ages superstar and has mysteriously disappeared from modern farms. Skirret was a set-it-and-forget-it crop. Plant it once and it quietly multiplied underground, like a savings account that pays out in vegetables. Unlike today's carrots that need constant attention, the flavor? Naturally sweeter than carrots or parsnips. Nobles couldn't get enough and insisted it be grown in royal gardens. Cooks roasted it, boiled it, tossed it into stews, and even made sweet pies out of it. Basically, it wasn't just tasty, it was reliable. While other crops failed in harsh winters, skirret kept growing, earning a reputation as the comfort of the poor man's table. Skirret was the potato before potatoes showed up. But as farming evolved, skirret vanished, replaced by flashier, faster-growing vegetables. Then there's Alexander's. Originally brought to Britain by the Romans, this plant didn't just grow in gardens. It invaded them, thriving on cliffs, roadsides, and anywhere it pleased. Imagine if celery had a wild twin with a rebellious streak. Every part of Alexander's was edible. Leaves, stems, roots, flowers, even seeds. It added a bold parsley meat celery flavor to everything from soups to salads. Medieval folks loved it, but by the 1700s, celery stole the spotlight, and Alexander's faded into the weeds. Unlike the rowdy Alexanders, good King Henry had a royal-sounding name and a chill attitude. Nobody really knows how it got its title, but this plant was a garden staple in medieval Europe. It practically grew itself, popping up year after year with zero effort. Think of it as the spinach that didn't need pampering. It had more iron than spinach and loads of vitamin C, two things medieval diets desperately lacked. Its versatility was unmatched. Shoots like asparagus, leaves like spinach, and flower buds like tiny broccoli. Cooks loved it, and so did medieval healers. It was even called all good in some regions. But as farming became commercialized, this humble hero got pushed aside. Now let's talk about salsify, the root that tastes like oysters. Seriously, this odd little vegetable was used as a fish substitute during religious fasting. Monks even cultivated it just for Lent. It looks scraggly on the outside, but cooked into something delicate and savory, with notes of seafood. Two main types existed: white and black salsify. They grew through winter, stayed fresh underground, and could be stored for months, making them essential in a time without refrigerators. But their slow growth and weird looks didn't stand a chance against modern farming's need for speed and uniformity. Speaking of weird, say hello to the medlar. A fruit so bizarre it had to rot before you could eat it. Fresh from the tree, it's rock hard and sour. But let it blet, a fancy word for controlled rotting, and it turns into medieval applesauce with a cinnamon twist. People made medlar tarts, jellies, even wine. Its unusual shape inspired some, colorful medieval nicknames. Yet it was cherished for its timing, ripening in late autumn and keeping through winter. But in today's world of instant gratification, nobody has time for fruit that needs weeks to become edible. In contrast, chickweed had no patience problem. It grew everywhere. Farmers didn't plant it. They couldn't stop it if they tried. But instead of treating it like a weed, medieval people harvested it. Chickweed packs 7 times more vitamin C than oranges by weight. It was a green lifesaver during long winters and was even served in noble households. Plus, it had medicinal uses, cooling skin and calming fevers. And yet, like so many others, chickweed got labeled a pest by modern agriculture and sprayed out of existence. Then there's scorsonera, a vegetable with a name that sounds like a disease but tastes like a dream. Don't let the black skin fool you. Inside, it's creamy, sweet, and nutty. People once thought it cured snake bites. Spoiler, it didn't. But it turned out to be even more valuable as food. It stored beautifully through winter, kept monks fed during fasting, and helped with stomach troubles. But again, modern markets preferred prettier, faster options. Now meet the Welsh onion, not from Wales and not actually an onion. But this leafy green was a medieval multitasker. It came back year after year, multiplied like crazy, and stayed green all winter. Cooks used its shoots to flavor soups and stews when nothing else was growing. It wasn't flashy, but it got the job done. Until big bulbous onions took over. And just when you thought the surprises were over, Fat Hen shows up. This wild green grew without help and turned out to be more nutritious than spinach, cabbage, or even kale. It was eaten during famines, ground into flour, and even fed to chickens to boost egg production. But instead of being celebrated, it got classified as a weed and banished from modern farms. Finally, there's lovage, a plant so flavorful it made celery look bland. Roman soldiers carried it across Europe, monks planted it in every garden, and medieval cooks used every part, from roots to seeds to hollow stems, which they candied, by the way. One sprig could flavor an entire pot. It also had medicinal powers. It soothed digestion, relieved bloating, and lived for decades. And yet, gone. Why? Because trade brought exotic spices and lovage lost its spotlight. Meanwhile, corn salad, our next forgotten green, was being mistaken for something it's not. Months when nothing else was growing, corn salad thrived quietly in harvested grain fields. And while its name confused generations, no, it has nothing to do with actual corn, its nutritional profile would make modern dietitians cheer. It packs 3 times more omega-3s than iceberg lettuce, plus iron and vitamin C to boot. But because it had a weird name and didn't store well, it got nudged out by crunchier, more marketable lettuces. As corn salad disappeared, another bold-flavored plant got rejected simply for being too flavorful. Enter tansy, a perennial herb with fern-like leaves and sunshine-bright button flowers. This wasn't your average kitchen garnish. Every part of tansy was a flavor bomb, packed with over 40 aromatic compounds. Imagine if a spice rack had a rock concert. That's tansy. Medieval cooks used it in everything from Easter puddings to herb cheeses and even ales. And it wasn't just about taste. Tansy's strong oils acted as a natural preservative, key in a world without refrigeration. It also doubled as medicine and pest control, often planted near doorways to repel flies. But over time, gentler herbs like parsley took its place. Tansy was just too loud for modern palates. And if tansy was too bold, sea kale was forgotten for the opposite reason. It was too easy to overlook. This coastal plant grew in harsh, salty soil where nothing else could thrive. Medieval communities harvested its asparagus-like shoots in spring and cooked its cabbagey leaves in summer. It was mild, sweet, and 6 times richer in vitamin C than lemons, critical for sailors and fishing villages. But somehow this generous plant faded from memory, quietly waiting on beaches for someone to notice. Then there's woad, a plant with a true identity crisis. Grown mainly for its blue dye, used in everything from royal robes to warrior paint, woad also had an edible side. The young leaves were harvested for spring salads before the dye compounds kicked in. The flavor? Mild with a peppery edge like a cousin of mustard greens. But woad had a downside. It stank. Processing the dye involved fermentation, and the smell was so awful that medieval towns literally banned woad production near city centers. Imagine a food so useful it got exiled. While woad battled its split personality, turnips were busy being misunderstood. Everyone knows the root, but medieval folks valued the leafy tops just as much. In fact, turnip greens are a nutritional powerhouse, with more calcium, vitamin A, and protein than the root itself. Peasants harvested the outer leaves all season long, adding them to soups and stews when fresh greens were scarce. It's like buying a smartphone and only using the calculator. You're ignoring the best parts. So what happened? From skillet to turnip greens, these 15 forgotten vegetables weren't just quirky, they were essential. They fed entire communities through war, famine, and brutal winters. They healed bodies, flavored feasts, and filled gardens with plants that grew back every year without fuss. And yet, one by one, they were replaced by crops that grew faster, looked prettier, or shipped better. But now, as people grow curious about local, resilient, and nutrient-rich foods, it might be time for a comeback. These vegetables aren't extinct. They're just waiting for someone to remember them. Maybe that someone is you.